Good morning, mythical traders from around the entire world. My name is Jeremy Alexander Newsom, and this is your most marvelously majestic Monday morning of the Real Life Trading Day Trading Room. This is the open house this entire week. We're going to be doing this together, enriching lives together, looking over charts, answering questions, taking some trades, hopefully making some money, and doing things that are incredible for both your brain, body, and mind and heart. If you can hear me, type in a 1 just to make sure everyone's there. Beautiful. Simon, how's it going? Good, good, good. Oh, tons of people here. I love it. This is fantastic. It's going to be a lot of fun, ladies and gentlemen. Again, truly so excited to do this. What a Monday, too. Man, the opportunities that are in front of us are bountiful. So let's go ahead and just dive in, honestly. And while we're doing that, I'll be upgrading some of my traders to panelists. Let's see, get Ashley in here as panelist, and let's get Brad Reed will come in just a moment as panelist, I'm sure. Let me go find my buddy Matt. All right, just making a few upgrades to the list. Perfect, great, wonderful, amazing. Okay. So let me do this. Let me stop my video for right now and get the screen sharing turned on just so that we can all see my screen. And to verify, type in a 3 if all of this looks good. Okay, great. So you can see my screen. Fantastic, wonderful information. Always good to know. All right, well, here's what we're going to do. What's interesting, this particular chart that you're looking at right now, this is the SPY, which is the ETF for the S&P 500. And these red bars that you see on the screen, these right here. So these red bars are actually the exact replica of the movement that we got on the market back in January 2018. Oh, sorry, 2017. So right here, you might remember that January of 2018, end of 2017, beginning of 2018, we had just an absolute huge move in the market. Really, really massive. I mean, everyone who was trading was making money. It was a wonderful time to be a trader. I mean, you were just dominating. There was pretty much no way you couldn't have been making money at the end of 2017, early 2018. I mean, the markets were just rampaging. And what was really interesting, in my opinion, was this movement, all of this movement was very, very similar to what we just got in the market, right? November, December, January, pretty bullish in the broader markets. I think you could argue that stocks have been moving pretty well for a while. Again, since October. Really since October, all we've been doing is going straight up. So in long-term investing, swing trading, everyone's making money, or at least you should have been. I mean, it's just been a great market to be a bull trader. Everything worked out really well. But as you all know, what goes up at some point must come down. So what we did was we took that and we simply moved it to present day. And that actually gave us the exact top, ladies and gentlemen, within a cent. So again, this red bar is the exact replica of the January 2018 move. And again, we are in January. The exact high of the move, I mean, again, within pennies, was dictated by the exact January approach. It's pretty fascinating to see how these patterns work out really nicely. So what we now have to do is go, okay, cool, Jeremy, we did all that. Now what? Now what do we do? And I do think that the market is going to have a small little pullback over the next few days and weeks. And that pullback will be extremely healthy and extremely needed for the market. It was way too hyped up. Too many people were buying it. You had to have some type of normalcy return to the markets. And I don't know if it's going to be the exact normalcy that we got over here with this pretty massively aggressive correction, but it might be. It could be. We will find out. But the dip eventually will be buyable. We're just going to have to find out how big the dip is going to be. What we're going to be doing this morning is reviewing some individual companies and looking for some individual companies to find out if we want to trade those companies, if we want to day trade them, if we want to set up some swing trades, if we want to do some longer term type of investing. I'm going to do my absolute best to answer everyone's questions on as many stocks as we can. But what I will be doing both today, tomorrow, and Thursday, while I'm here in the morning room with each and every one of you at Open, is kind of build a list of some of the stocks that I think are the best. Daniel says, is the pre-market gap down on Tesla today tradable? Yeah, it's definitely tradable. Everything is always tradable. I know what question you're asking. How do we trade it? And we're going to look at that in just a moment. But yeah, man, it's always tradable. One of the first stocks that I want to look at is actually Wynn Resorts, W-Y-N-N. And the reason I want to look at Wynn Resorts is I do two things when the market's down pretty massively. Let me actually, before I go to Wynn Resorts, let me go back to the SPY, and then I'm going to look at the E-mini so that you can kind of see what we're doing. The SPY, which again is the ETF for the S&P 500, is down 1.6%. That's pretty large. That's a really, really big gap down before the market even opening. So that puts us at about 323 and some change. So if I had to guess, and I'm usually pretty good at guessing, I think we're going to gap down, trade a little bit lower, have a decent bounce, and then eventually roll down some more later in the week. So what I'm saying is I'm actually going to be looking for potential bullish opportunities today. This is what I do when the market is down huge, which I would stipulate this as being down pretty big, pretty huge. When the market's down huge, I am looking for stocks that are doing something different. All right, that's what I look to do. When the market's down big, I look for something that doing something different. So I'm looking for stocks that are up or gapping down even bigger, especially stocks that are gapping down on news that has nothing to do at all with the whole virus issue that's occurring in China. I mean, we can put whatever news article or news related headline on this move that we want, but it was very predictable, absolutely expected and needed in the market. So what I'm going to do is, looking at this blue, I'm going to do my absolute best, ladies and gentlemen, to find something that's moving different. Okay. Find something that is doing something a little bit different than the market. And I want to kind of show you a step, I think, that's pretty easy for each and every single person here to go and access stocks that are gapping before the market. So here's an example. A lot of traders have asked me numerous times, Jeremy, how do you find stocks that are gapping before market open? Because they'll watch my videos and they just won't understand how I'm finding these stocks that are moving before the market is actually doing anything specific. Well, what I'm doing is I'm hopping over to barchart.com. I put this link in the chat pane. So if you were here live, you have the ability to click on that link and you can use this exact scanner. It is entirely free, ladies and gentlemen, 100% free. And it updates at 9 a.m. each day. So it's a free scanner that you can use to go find stocks that are gapping. This is what I do. I like to look for stocks that are gapping, that are moving a little differently than the broader market, just finding something that is, a smidge different. And then next, this is pretty common. When the market is down largely, now make this note, ladies and gentlemen, go ahead and write this down somewhere. Take this note because this is very important to understand. When the market's down largely, a lot of gold and silver stocks will be up. That's not always the case, but it happens relatively frequently. When the market's down, a lot of gold and silver are going to be up. I'm looking for stocks that are non-gold, non-silver related. Okay? Because again, if the market does a correction and it fades, all the gold and silver stocks will gap up, will trade down, and all the broader markets will gap down and trade higher. So I'm looking for something that's going against the overall grain that's not a gold or silver company. So the way I do that is by selecting volume. I click on the volume tab, and then I just go look at some of the names. And we do have plenty. So we have a pharmaceutical company, we have a diagnostics company, another pharmaceutical company, this company, and then you start getting the gold, right? GOLD, this is gold, this is not gold. So let's go look at some of these gold and silver companies that are gapping up and just kind of reviewing them. I have someone saying, are you no longer using Stock Market Watch for pre-market gaps? You absolutely can. This is just one chart, one website. I like this site better because it offers more stocks and it is better data. So you are correct. I do not use Stock Market Watch for pre-market gaps anymore. All right, let's go look at the very first one and just go through some of these and see if we can find some. And then I'm going to look for some of the gap downs as well. And I'll be answering some of your questions. ACHN. So what I'm first noticing as soon as I pull up this company is type in a 3 if you can see how the stock has traded very flat for a long time. All right, very, very flat. So that automatically tells me that this is probably a buyout, this particular gap up. So we're gapping up to 7, and I'm assuming this is going to be a buyout. So what I'm going to do now is hop over here to the news articles and see if I can find a buyout article. Not really. So no headlines for ACHN. That's unique. Okay, let me go in here to the 5-minute chart. What I'm going to do now is I'm going into a 5-minute chart and I'm typing in the extended hours data. So this is the EXT. You do have to pay for this if you use TradingView, but I'm looking at the EXT hours and it doesn't actually look like a buyout. It does look like you've had some general nice moves post-market. So even though we've been trading very flat for a while, it actually looks kind of like a legitimate gap. So this is going to be interesting to watch. And I'm going to put this one on the list because, again, it is gapping up in the face of a strong gap down in the market. Clarice says, do they still produce vaccines? I honestly have no idea, Clarice. I'm not sure what this company does. I do not know. Steven says ACHN gets FTC clearance of sale of Alexion. Okay. So Mark says it's confirming that selling itself to ALXN. Gotcha. Clarice says, I was wondering if it's related to the virus. I like that. That's a very, very good comment. It's a really good comment, but it does look like it's confirmed that it's selling itself to ALXN. ALXN, which is this company, Alexion Pharmaceuticals, and this one is gapping down 1.2%. So you can see it's at 104 right now. So yeah, bottom line, ladies and gentlemen, I won't be trading ACHN because it looks like the sale is going through, everything is good to go, and it's a buyout. Awesome. On to the next one. Let's go look at CODX and see what that was doing. It looks a little bit cheap. CODX. Ooh, this looks ugly. Oh, wow. This is a biotech health technology company. Clarice mentioned earlier, she was talking about some of the virus issues, and a lot of biotech and medical companies could be moving today because of this whole virus thing. So we'll see CODX gapping up to 277. Wow. We can already see that this is a weird looking chart. Weird gap up there, very strange gap there, strange gap there, strange gap there, strange gap there. If I had to look at the previous history, when this stock gaps up, what does it usually do? So when it gaps up, it usually sells off pretty big, right? If we can kind of see that. So that tells me that I probably don't want to trade this one. So I'm going to wait it out and yeah, I'm just going to write this one down. Dylan says you could go bearish on it. It's probably going to be very hard to find stock to short on that one, Dylan. You're right, you could. But since the volume is pretty low, it doesn't look like the greatest company in the world. It might be a little bit hard to actually find shares to short. CODX, I can tell you right now in Thinkorswim, CODX, Thinkorswim is notoriously hard to find shorts anyway, but yes, this one is hard to borrow. There you go. So I won't be really looking at that one, and I'll just kind of move on. So really easy for me. NVC, never heard this one in my life. NNVC. Nano, I don't even know how to pronounce that. Another healthcare biotechnology company that's gapping up pretty big. Again, probably semi-virus related. Mr. Wilcox says, who are you using for hard to borrow stocks? I'm not trading anything if it's hard to borrow. So yeah, I'm not trading hard to borrow stocks today. NNVC gapping up 1286. Again, this looks like a random company with really random volume. Again, a lot of volume came in extremely recently, which tells me if all these people were buying it, this is most likely going to gap up and sell down a little bit. So I don't think that I'm going to be really focused on that particular trade that much this morning. What I do often is I will write down on another list. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to write down on another list some of these stocks. We can come back to it and look at it later, but I will be looking at some broader market companies in just a second. Let me write some of these down. All right. I'm going to jot some of these stocks down. So Monday morning, we looked at NNVC, which again really doesn't look that great. CODX, which again, I'm jotting these down to really just almost purely be bored if we get really bored. But I don't think that's going to happen today. INO. Now, this is one that I have traded before. Again, another health technology medical company. And I'm kind of interested to see what this one does. I have traded this one before on INO. I have traded this company before. This one is actually a really nice gap, but it's up 30%. So you can see, again, we can see this before the market opens. Market is not opened yet. The US market is not open, and we can see how far the stock is already gapping. It's up 30%. Which again doesn't mean that it can't go higher, but it does tell me that anyone who already bought in the last month or so is probably going to sell to lock in their 30% gain over the weekend. In fact, this is the weekly chart that we're looking at right here. There is a 200 simple moving average at 551. This is the 200 simple on a weekly chart, 200 SMA on a weekly. So 551. So what I will do is I will throw that in, and I will keep this on the list. So what I'm interested on doing on INO is I'm going to write this one down, and I'm just going to kind of let you know my thoughts on this, my friends. I will watch INO as a possible fade today. A fade means to trade in the opposite direction of the gap, AKA, I think this will go lower. Now, again, it doesn't have to. That doesn't mean I'm going to trade it, but it means I'm going to watch it pretty closely today because I do think you have a lot of people who are buying and it's gapping up into a little bit of a resistance. Here's the pre-market chart on INO. And the pre-market chart, it doesn't look that weak. It really doesn't look that weak. So seeing it move, retrace, pull back, that actually looks kind of healthy normally to continue higher. I'm going to put on the list. Am I going to trade it? Probably not. We will see. Let me do this because I am getting a lot of questions on broader market companies, which I do like broader market companies. Right now, Square is gapping down. A lot of people are asking about Square. Square is gapping down, and it's gapping against the broader market. So this is a gap and go. Most of the market is kind of a retest gap, which is black candle gapping down. Square is a bullish candle gapping down. And there's going to be some people trapped on Square because a lot of people for sure bought this breakout on Friday. A lot of people bought that breakout. So I'm going to put Square on this list because it is doing something different than the broader market. The broader market, when I say broader market, I'm usually referring to the SPY. The broader market is a bearish candle gapping down. So looking for candles or stocks that are gapping up or white candles gapping down would be nice. Or kind of like Wynn, you have also a black candle gapping down, but we're gapping down 9% randomly. I don't think this has this virus, this issue, all this going on. I don't think any of that has anything to do with Wynn Resorts, right? I don't think any of this virus issue is going to impact or affect Wynn Resorts specifically in the long term at all. And again, that's just purely a guess, but I wouldn't imagine how it would be impacted. So I'm actually going to be looking for Wynn Resorts to eventually go higher today, or at least later in the week. Watching Wynn for a fade. Matt says Wynn has accounts receivable from China. All right, that's fine. So someone else is saying Las Vegas Sands is also gapping down. That is absolutely true. So I'm going to watch Wynn to go higher today. Now, again, friends, that doesn't mean that we have to take it bullish. It simply means I'm going to watch, wait, be patient, and try to see if I can find an opportunity to go long. But I can let you all know that today's going to be a really, really good day to be a little calm and a little patient. Tesla is gapping down. This is a very nice gap down on Tesla. Really, really good gap down on Tesla. I am kind of interested to see what's going to happen. Again, I do think the broader markets are indeed going to eventually go a little bit higher today. But this is a nice gap down on Tesla. You have 3 candles in a row, all with lower shadows. So lower shadow there, lower shadow there, lower shadow there. And we're gapping to right about here. So there is room for Tesla to pull back. Obviously, Tesla's been pretty high, pretty fast. A lot of people wanted it to get to 600. It didn't quite get to 600. It's in a very, very strong bullish trend, however. Incredibly strong bullish trend. So there will be some buyers coming in on Tesla at some point today. But as far as short selling, if we can find a good trade, I will consider it. But I'll be watching Tesla. It's going to be on my list today. And earnings are this week, which should be really, really fun to keep an eye on. All right, perfect. So that's kind of what we got. Let's go look at Beyond Meat, and then we're going to go look at Apple. So here's Beyond Meat. Beyond Meat is actually gapping up today. So BYND is gapping up, ladies and gentlemen. Look at that, up 1.8%. So this stock is going against the broader market, right? Broader market's gapping down. Beyond Meat is gapping up. So that does indeed show strength, right? It shows bullish opportunity. It shows that some buyers are pretty serious about this. And I do think that's a really, really good indication to keep your eyes peeled on this particular trade and watch it for a bullish move. Another great part about being in this community, ladies and gentlemen, is being able to get and see and have access to all these other traders' ideas, right? So I'm getting messages in the chat pane from traders looking at individual stocks, right? So a gentleman just wrote in the fact that Apple is gapping down 7.4%, and Apple gapping down 7%. Let me pull this up on the daily chart. I don't have it as gapping down 7%, Grant, because if Apple's gapping down 7%, I would buy all of it immediately. I do see it gapping down 2%, though. So Apple is gapping down 7 points, or 2%, but it is not gapping down 7%. Grant says the last 5 days. Also not down 7% the last 5 days. Apple is up over the last 5 days, but it is gapping down to 310. Again, Apple, incredibly, incredibly strong stock. Most likely, we will see some buying coming in at some point, but we are going to be as patient as possible, folks, because when the broader market, when pretty much everything is down, that is the market trying to tractor beam certain traders, trying to pull you in, scare you, and get you all excited and eager about taking some trades, and you take trades that you really shouldn't. So the market opens in 4 minutes. Take some deep breaths, and we will go find something that we can sink our teeth into or at least analyze and understand why it's moving. That also is very, very useful. Another stock that's gapping, a lot of you are asking about in the chat pane, is Lakeland Industries, LAKE. And I have played this before. There was another, I think, Ebola outbreak. Yep. Ebola outbreak back in 2014. I played this particular stock and did pretty well. So back over here, this is the Ebola outbreak when back in 2014, really, really big move. And ever since then, bloop, you know, it kind of pulled back pretty strongly and then did really nothing for the last 4 years. So we're gapping up again on LAKE. This one can run. I will put it on the list. The volume on this one is probably not exceptionally majestic, but it's not outrageously awful. We can see that there's definitely been some good volume previously being Friday, and I do think it's worth putting on the list. So we will see. But EJ says this is a mask producer. Yeah, so again, the average volume on this stock is pretty abysmal, but you are getting some moves on it right now. Again, will we actually trade this one? Probably not. The ones I do like the most are unquestionably Wynn, INO, Tesla, Beyond Meat, and Square. I will put Lake on the list, but I do want to have a pretty meager list each day this week, simply because I want to do my absolute best to kind of give you an idea and an insight and just kind of like a peek into my thought process when I'm looking through stocks, looking through companies, when the whole market is doing something massive like today. I try my best to be patient, relax, and remind myself that I don't have to make all of my money in one day. It's going to be a really big thing to remind yourself of, folks. You do not have to make all of your money on one particular trading day. Take it slow, take it easy, don't do anything wild, crazy, or harsh, and just be patient. Tracy says 3M is very close to opening above its prior day high. Yeah, it's about 50 cents off. It's not too bad. They do have earnings right around the corner. I can throw 3M on the list. Why not? Sergey says, should I go long the VIX? We will definitely keep SPY and VXX on the list today to see if we play something either bearish or play it bullish with the VIX. But yes, if the market's going to be pulling back a little bit farther, which I do anticipate over the next few days and weeks, then you could be long the VIX. Absolutely. You probably don't want to go long the VIX at open, though, most likely. Probably want to wait just a little bit before going long the VIX.